How's it going, everyone? We are live. We're just going to hang out live. Just kick it on the YouTube while we charge our vehicle. This is season 1, 8 of Joey Farr live during wartime. If you have tuned in to any of the previous episodes, cool. Be sure to like and subscribe, and you won't miss another episode. We're gonna wait till a few people show up before we lob into the big topics, right? Right now, we're gonna talk about aliens. Aliens are fake, okay? Aliens are fake and American. But before that, they were fake and German. Operation Paperclip. Look it up. Aliens are fake and American, okay? Just like you. Your magic is fake and American, right? But aliens are not real, guys. What's going on is something different. And these are, if you are seeing what you believe to be aliens, have you considered that they might be multi-dimensional entities? Perhaps demonic. Something to consider. Again, this is Joey Farr live during wartime, where we're going to cover the news. We're going to talk about what the fuck is going on. And if you live under a rock and you're not aware, then this is the place for you, man, because I'm gonna make you aware. Starters, this morning, 2 Democratic Minnesota lawmakers were killed at different addresses by somebody who I'm hearing was described as being in a police car uniform. We don't know if, but that happened. And Governor Tim Walz has been out there making some speeches about it. But I think the killer's still on the loose. So that's going on. Today we have the No Kings protests. That's coinciding with the Big Baby Parade. Let's get a shout out for the big fat baby. There we go. Donnie McCheeseburger finally got his military parade, right? But here's the thing, is it's actually the 250th anniversary of the military, right? Something like that. Which just happens to be his 79th birthday. So lucky Donnie, he can, he gets the parade he always wanted, and they go forth with they weren't even going to have a parade, to celebrate the 250th year. That's crazy to think about, that our bicentennial would have been 1770 or 1976. So to think that 76 was 50 years ago, dude, that hurts my brain. Let me know in the comments if that hurts your brain too. I remember, when it was when it was the 80s, and 76 that was not very long ago, right? Like, I wasn't alive in 76, but my cousins and siblings and other people were. Like, it's, so yeah, we've got this 250-year anniversary of our military, and Downey Giesberger's birthday, and no kings, and 2 lawmakers have been killed this morning, and we have war in Israel, war in Iran, and war in Ukraine and Russia. Yet somehow in our little pocket here in the United States, we're still pretty chill. You know, we don't have to. We're not getting bombed or shelled or, you know. So let's see. Presidential parades. Yeah, and I was like, where's Trump? Right? Where's the birthday boy? There he is. There's your birthday boy. 79 years old. Could you imagine, you know, having to, take like 400 milligrams of Adderall every day or something just to get up there and be an asshole, make them cool tweets? It's amazing how the viewers drop off the moment you just start talking shit about their commander-in-chief. But it's okay, you guys. This is America. We can do that. If you're a United States citizen and you're not happy with your president, you have every right to make fun of him. For now. That might not be the case forever, right? But something that's troubling that you guys need to look at is Russia's relationship with Hamas and Putin's global calculations, right? And there are a lot of articles out there if you start to look it up. And I think a lot of people are just tuning that aspect out. They're like, what does Israel and Iran have to do with Ukraine and Russia? And you gotta see the last 5-10 years as a really slow incremental game being played, and longer than that actually, but potentially centuries. But when we're talking about key players, when we're talking about Putin, we're talking about Trump, we're going to keep it concise within the last 16 years. Say. Remember that Putin has been a leader for roughly 25 years now in Russia. I think that's crazy. Think about Trump being your president for 25 years. That would fucking suck. So you've had this guy who was a Russian intelligence op. He was there during the fall of the Soviet Union, who all of a sudden, after the fall of the Soviet Union, and then after Gorbachev and all that stuff, decides to step in and become the leader, and just decides he's not going to move. He's going to stay right where he's at. And factoid time. Vladimir Putin's birthday is October 7th. If you guys didn't know that. Speaking of birthdays and parades and events, it's important to note that Vladimir Putin's birthday is October 7th. So, those of you running over to open up another page to see if I'm right about that, welcome back. Anyway, I'm paying attention to some different data sets than maybe other people are. Cosmic coincidences. astrological coincidences. Another notable October 7th birthday would be Alice Walton. Google that one. And then ask me why I keep track of it all. Anyway, it's because of the American dream, right? This image behind me represents this weird American dream, right? And nothing has upset this strange American dream more than these tariff talks. And I don't know if you guys have been following the news with Chiquita bananas and the banana plantations around the world. Most people don't. But some shit's going down. And some shit's going down on the Congress floor about bananas, right? You know, where bananas become a hot topic when we are talking about tariffs. What's the tariffs on bananas? Well, it's generally 10%. Well, did you know the market, Walmart has already marked up their bananas 8%. And it's like, if the tariff kicks in, is Walmart gonna, bump their bananas up another 10%, or just 2% to compensate for what they've already done? Or are they just gonna like make bananas cheaper and eat some of that cost just to keep that pyramid, right? Because that's what the American dream is, right? You walk into a grocery store and you see that pyramid of bananas, and it's cheap and it's plentiful, and you don't ask where they came from. You don't want to know. You don't care. You could tell me all the banana facts in the world, but yeah, most people don't give a shit. But they're all mostly clones. They're a Cavendish breed. Oh well, there's viruses and bacteria and things out there that are, gonna wipe out the Cavendish banana. We're gonna have to GMO our way out of this situation if we want to keep bananas. And you don't think people give two shits about bananas until you take them away or crank the price up on them, right? Because you do have families that like to use them as nutrition, to add them to their cereal, their oatmeal, for their meals for their kids. Like, kid wants a snack in the afternoon, give them a banana. Most kids are like really excited about that, right? They're tasty. They're good. They're good. They're not as good as they probably used to be now that it's just all the same Cavendish clone, but still. Anyway, American dream, this fucking banana facade shit that goes on in grocery stores. Okay? I don't know, man. It's a banana facade. And you got a situation where you've got the United States and Israel and Walmart and bananas. Right? It makes sense the longer you think about it. When you think about what is Chiquita Banana? What is the UFC? United Fruit Company, right? And who started the United Fruit Company? Can anybody tell me? Do most people in the United Fruit Company are the same thing? And when you start talking about aristocratic, extremely wealthy families that control the trade and have interest in hiring third world country guerrilla warfare tactics to control these banana plantations, right? And then make sure that news never gets back out. Anyway, recently Chiquita had to pay a hefty sum to families that they had fucked over, basically, where they were hiring these militias to do their dirty work, I guess. I wasn't going to name off all the things they did, but global trade, though, okay, that's really why we're using bananas as an example. Tariffs, global trade. A lot of people fail to realize that Israel, not Palestine, is one of the most powerful economic sectors in the world. Okay? And there's a reason for that. Okay? They're brokering all kinds of things. And a lot of money flows through Israel, apparently, right? Out of the 10 global banking sectors, Israel is one of them all by themselves. That little, tiny country that we keep arguing about, right? And so imagine what happens when any of the main global banking sectors start to get attacked. You know, you have the global banking cartel that has a problem with that. Like, if you wonder who the hell's in charge of everything, you know, look no further than the people who print your money and decide how much it's worth. Wake up. And they're not Republicans and they're not Democrats, dude. They are just capitalists and economists and rich. The Federal Reserve is not, it's a conglomerate of privately owned interest. Like, Ron Paul was crazy as hell to go out there and be like, we're going to just destroy the Federal Reserve and do something different. That's radical. That is some radical shit. That'll get you Kennedy. For those of you who don't know, Kennedy means back and to the left. What do you guys think? Was it Oswald? Was it somebody from the grassy knoll? Or was there some dude in the gutter, like in the in the drainage system, that pointed a gun up? Or was it all the above, right? But it definitely wasn't a magic bullet. You know, how many of you think that weird assassination attempt thing was staged? Because there's a lot of people that are like, you know, his ear would still have a wound. Like, your cartilage just doesn't grow back like that. So let me know what you think in the comments. Was that fake? And, you know, why does that kid link back up to BlackRock? Like, what's up with everybody having some strange involvement with BlackRock? Speaking of BlackRock, BlackRock owns a pretty hefty share of Walmart, Target, and a lot of these corporations. So, you know, speaking of the global banking cartel, speaking of BlackRock, like, wake up. Wake up. Stay purple. Vote blue, stay purple. You know, why wouldn't I vote red? Because they're accelerationists, dude. They want to immunize the eschaton. Okay? Like, their agenda is more aligned with awful, terrible shit than most others. And some, you know, you got to realize that some of these evangelicals are out there really trying to fulfill biblical prophecy, okay? Because they feel like we're never going to move forward until we fulfill the book. So keep that in mind as we fight these ideological wars all over the fucking world and fight with each other on the internet. And aliens are fake and American, and they used to be fake and German. Okay? That's just how it's going. Anyway, we are live at the one-man protests. I'm protesting aliens, not illegal ones. I'm protesting the fake ones that they keep talking about. I'm sitting here in my car at a charger, and like there's this guy in the parking lot looking at me like I'm just talking to nobody. Talking to myself. God, I am. Right? There's one viewer here. How are you doing? Like, subscribe, say hi, comment, interact with me. Give me some crowd to work with here. Argue with me, refute what I'm saying. Tell me that President Vladimir Putin is not funding Hamas. Show me one shred of proof that Putin is not one of the chief funding providers of intelligence and weapons to Hamas via proxy of Iran. You can't do it. You can't. You would be fabricating bullshit. And, it is rather damning that Donald Trump seems to be so beholden to Russian interest and Russian oligarchs. How much money and favors does he owe Russian oligarchs? That's something you need to ask yourselves. Because at the end of the day, you've got to know who is beholden to who. And you don't want people in office who are not beholden to you, the people, right? He'd be a traitor, right? So the more Donald Trump refuses to rebuke Putin publicly and go after Putin, the worse it's making him look. Okay? I don't know how many intelligence briefings that man has ignored at this point when it comes to Russia's involvement with Hamas. And I don't know why our media ignores it. Like, BBC will cover it. Speaking of BBC, last night I listened to a little political roundtable that was people from all over the world. And what they were discussing is the world safer with Donald Trump, or is the world more dangerous with Donald Trump? And most unanimously, everyone except one lady agreed that the world is far more dangerous with Donald Trump in office. It always has been. And the guy who spoke the most cited things from like 2017. He cited things from his first term in office as examples. And then how, when he got in office for his second term, he's continued to roll the same ball and push it forward. And that is Russian interest. That is, by having Donald Trump in office, Russia, breathes a huge sigh of relief. And he has an ally to, cut the funding of the country he's trying to attack. And let's not forget that Donald Trump's first impeachment was over a phone call to Vladimir Zelensky, where he was going to congratulate him on winning the election and then tell him, hey, will you do me a favor? And what was that favor, guys? He wanted him to do some digging on his political opponent and his family and their dealings in Ukraine. That's illegal. For one. Two, why? What were you going to get out of, showing the world that Hunter Biden had found a job working as an energy contractor, basically going to places where energy exists, like Searcy, Arkansas. Batesville, Arkansas, where he impregnated a woman, right? Hunter Biden impregnated a woman from Batesville, Arkansas. He has a child. He has to pay child support. That happened. Okay. But bold of Trump to criticize Hunter Biden for finding employment in the private sector of energy deal brokering. When, look at his own children. But that's that doesn't matter to the Republican fan base, right? It doesn't fucking matter to you guys. Doesn't matter to you. You thrive on hypocrisy. And that's what's wrong with you. Aliens are fake and American. And so your president's fake and Russian. So I don't know what you guys are going to do about that. You're going to have to work on that. If you're just tuning in, this is the Joey Farr Live During Wartime episode number 8, season 1. We're still in season 1. I'll decide when season 2 happens. I think when we are officially at war with Iran, the United States versus Iran, and we are officially at war with Russia, we'll move to season 2. For now, we'll stick to season 1. Maybe war with Russia will be season 3. Season 2 will be war with Iran. Season 3 will be based on all the things Putin has to say about us going to war with Iran. Why are we going to war with Iran? Is the war already finished? Like apparently they've already disabled most of their nuclear programs. So therein lies the main issue that was worrying everyone, is Iran not only getting nuclear capabilities, but they would use it, right? And that's one of the biggest fears, is like, a nukes being detonated overhead in Israel. That's a big that's a big discussion in the threat assessment community, right? Is nuclear weapons being used in such a way that would, potentially obliterate an entire city or country. And that's not okay. And so when you're supporting Iran and you're supporting Hamas, you're supporting the obliteration of a nation through nuclear weapons. And that's what everyone's forgetting, and I don't know, that's very worrying and troubling to consider. Anyways, guys, what we're going to do now, we're going to move on to the next part of this episode. Well, we've got bananas. These bananas were priced at 54 cents a pound. These are the One Company. I don't really know who the One Company is, but I'm going to assume they're Walmart's best friend, because a great majority of the bananas that you will find on the Walmart shelves are this brand. Ironically enough. Sometimes, rarely though, you will see Dole or Chiquita. Most of the time you'll see other brands, like just straight from Ecuador, straight from Guatemala, straight from, but it's always the same Cavendish clone, right? So Walmart has put a lot of time and effort into making sure that it knows where all the usable Cavendish bananas are coming from, right? And see, guys, what we're going to do today is we're going to change this background and we're going to talk about bananas for a second. Hold on. All right. We're going to go here for a minute, but then we're going to look further. Fuck yeah. Banana Wave time, guys. We are on the Banana Wave channel. And guess what we're going to do? We're going to do an art project. Here we have a Sharpie that has a point, but really no more ink left in it, right? But it's got a ballpoint that or a felt tip or something like that that makes a good banana carver. And then when we are done carving things on our bananas, we are going to go back over it with a gold marker. Why are we doing this? Well, this is a way to take all the frustration and rage and anger that a person might have and transmute it into something beautiful, into something artful. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, transmuting, get ready. Call your friends in, because we're about to have fun. Anyway, bananas, pen. And we're going to etch some things, and then I'll show you guys what I'm etching. But we have 8 bananas here to do, so I'm going to talk to you while I do the bananas. So, Banana Wave, technically, as far as I know, would have started in spring of 2019. Now, there may have been other banana waves before this. There may be a drink, banana milk, before this. But this particular thing, it's only been going on for about 6 years. Now, if you examine the news from the last 6 years, from 2019 to now, you will notice some things. Now, if you type in banana news and go back, a few years and just comb through and see the things that have happened with bananas, you might be able to find a connection, right? To banana magic being involved or connected to banana events, but not directly, just on a quantum level. Anyway. And so we've taken the banana and we've marked it up with things that you can't really see right here, but these are going to turn brown, right? Where I've marked them, it's going to turn brown. And then you'll be able to see what I've marked a little better. Now, I'm using an fake and American alien language, okay? So these are symbols that I created and only I know, so you can borrow them, but they may not do the same thing for you as they do for me, right? And then if you don't know what I'm talking about symbolism and sigil magic. And if you would like a brief tutorial on that, maybe look up Austin Osman Spear and different people who talk about how symbols can have power. If you're still with me, bless you. Bless you with the banana love. And if you're not, that's fine. You got better shit to do than listen to me talk about bananas and Vladimir Putin and Hamas and Israel. And that's fun. 2 bananas down, 6 to go. Actually, I've got to make another pass over these bananas with more symbols, but we're going to start with the base main 3. And then we're going to name them. And we're going to put some stars of David on them in symbolism that shows our support for Israel. Because that's how we're feeling. Now I realize that Israel may be a corrupt nation, much like the United States. But as a whole, both countries are founded upon some key principles and social, civic dynamics that I would rather agree with over perhaps the ideology of Hamas or Russia, for that matter. Because there is a core fundamental in the American judicial system and values and constitution that sort of overrides everyone here. And that is our freedom of speech. And, you know, what sounds perhaps anti-American today to you might sound extremely patriotic to those in the future. We never know how it all plays out, or do we? You know, and that's the thing. If you believe in astrology and you believe in magic, symbolism, and things like that, then you might understand why big events happen. You know, especially 2020. Like, I could have told you 2020 was going to happen in 2010. And if you look at the movements of Venus and Mars and Mercury, that can tell you a lot about the masculine and feminine energies at play. You know, and the weather. You know, you have summertime creeping in. And I'm tired of this town again. Right? Anyway, doubting Thomases of a petty theft. But there is no fucking way that Stephen Paddock pulled off that Vegas shooting by himself. I don't believe it. Like, and if he did, show me. Prove it. Right? I thought that was weird that happened right before the JFK documents were set to be released the first time. And it's like the JFK documents keep popping up in the news. It's like very relevant. It makes you wonder why. Like, there's going to be something in those documents that's going to reshape American civilization and humanity as we know it, possibly. Or confirm some of our worst fears potentially. So that's something to consider. But you know, it was the Bay of Pigs, guys. When JFK decided that he wasn't he wasn't going to be cool about the Bay of Pigs. He didn't know what the CIA was up to, and he wasn't cool about it. And some people say it was mob motivated, and then some people say, like, they'll even say he was like the most killed man in history, right? Of how many people may have wanted to do that to JFK. But I always loved his speech that he made just before he left, or before he was killed. He didn't leave office. He was removed. But his speech was talking about a repugnant secret cabal. And that cabal still, runs shit to this day. All right, we got 7 bananas down. One more to go. And then we'll let those do their thing, and then we'll hit them with the gold. And then we'll name them and hit them with some other colors. We might even pick a scab and bleed on them. Right? Right. If you're just tuning in, my name is Joey Farr. I'm not crazy on bananas. And you can too. Let's make light of these dark times. Right? Be sure to like and subscribe. Here, I'll show you this one. Now that they're darkened, I can show you what we're dealing with. And I'm not a very good artist, so you gotta bear with me. But this is what we're working with here. These are organic grenades. And they're harmless. They are long sweet potatoes. Fingers. Somebody told me recently that banana is Arabic for fingers. I don't know if that's true, but that's cool if it is. But in some cultures, it is believed that the banana was the tree of knowledge, of good and evil in the Garden of Eden. I don't believe that, but I think it's interesting that some people do. Right? Right. It wouldn't have been a banana, right? Wouldn't it have been like a plantain, or had the banana evolved by then? Let me know in the comments. Because bananas would have been historically shorter and fatter and seedier. And plantains would have been the longer, larger variation. But their leaves are what more is the selling point for it, right? Because Banana leaves were some of the first known materials used for clothing. Just think about that. Think about drunken Moses telling you a story about where we came from, and he's trying to explain to you where clothes came from and why we started wearing them and the birth of consciousness and all that, right? And there's a pictorial that's got it's got a monkey with some bananas, and then next is another religion, and the next is another religion, and the next another religion, and then it goes back to bananas, like how we return to the source through dialect, through symbolism. And so bananas are a great way to communicate with fake and American aliens. I think my phone's going to overheat soon, so we might get off here. Maybe, I don't know. When the screen lightens up a little bit, it makes me think it's doing temperature regulation. All right, we are 5 bananas in with the gold marker and the etchings. It's like binder work, just factory bananas. Bananas are organic, or they're organic compost, so it's technically not littering to throw a banana on the ground. It feels like littering and it looks like littering, but if you come back a month later and nobody touched that banana, it won't really be there anymore, because ants and insects and butterflies will touch that banana. That's another thing. Butterflies love bananas. Like, they will gravitate towards the sweetness of a banana. So if you do have a garden and you want butterflies, you could just leave a bunch of bananas in it. Like, don't peel them. Not banana peels, not banana guts. Just throw the banana. You don't have to do anything to it. Just let the banana do the work. People are impatient, right? Every time I try to talk about doing banana magic with other people, they always think that you're supposed to do these other things with it, or banana peels, or is it this, is that, and it's like the decomposition process is just as much part of it as anything. So if you want it to decompose very quickly, then sure, you do whatever you want to with it. Me, I prefer a slower method. I'm a patient man, where I can wait for the banana to do its thing. I don't want to force it to disintegrate, to decompose. Most of the time. And then sometimes you might just throw it out in the middle of the road because you want it to get ran over. So let me know in the comments, do you want your bananas to get ran over? At some point we'll add closed captioning to these videos so the bots know. And that's what we're doing. Every time we post to the internet, we're just training the bots to be more like us. We're a long way from robots taking markers and bananas. Now they may make pictures of it, make stories about it, make fun of it. We're still a long ways out there. Well, if you're just tuning in, we're 50 minutes into season 1, episode 8 of Joey Farr live during wartime. We're going to get off here. We're going to go into this Walmart, and we're going to save money and live better. And no, I'm not advertising for Walmart. It's just that I live in a place where you don't have a lot of options, and they're everywhere. They're so inviting, regardless of their policies and positions. Have a nice day.